Okay, Tsumi Deku was a descendant from Kaido. And he's gonna also be a descendant from Zoro. And it's gonna work something like this. He's gonna be All-Might's son, and he's gonna be 1 year older than himself in canon. So let's say 1 year after he was born, he had twin sisters. Inga had twin sisters. Assuming Asha and Izumi. Izumi has basically green hair while Asha has hair. And then basically time to the next voice. Yes, I'm watching this live since I didn't spoil a lot. I'm trying to put a good what if video. But I hope you have bad ideas. Anyways. Yeah, that happens, and yeah, Ingo's doesn't care about Deku. While Almighty still cares about Deku, but just make sure it. Oh, it's deep to beside him. Anyways, we then basically time skip a year after Deku finds his quirk list. And he basically finds out, and Ingo finds out that Izumi and Asha has quirks. Izumi has a telekinesis and regeneration quirk, while Asha has a regeneration quirk and a hazmat quirk. Since Ingo's born with both quirks, telekinesis and regeneration quirk. So yeah. Now, she couldn't heal Almond's wound. But anyway, so yeah. Now, we then basically time skip. I think it's like 8. During the years, he's been bullied by his siblings, he's been abused by his mom, and by Bakugo and his gang. He had enough of it, since basically when Nick was like 8, he still trains his body, since each time he gets beaten up in his home or in his or when he goes to school or something like that. Yeah, each time he gets beaten up, like when he's not in his home or in his home, he's basically injured pretty badly. When he's not home, he gets injured to the point that basically he's barely alive. When he's home, he's basically beaten up to basically where he's basically knocked out. So yeah, they basically time. So during those years, Deku's been entering this, and Deku's like 8 right now. He's 8 and had enough of it, since he had enough of it. What he did was, let's say one day he went in the forest. There was nobody, there was apartment he lived. And let's say while he was there, he was starting to train his body. He's starting to train his strength basically. To the point that a bear attacked him. Deku basically dodged barely out of the way and says, "What the?" And sees the bear, and what he does is doesn't run away. Instead, he basically decides to fight to see this is a good fight to have or something like that. He goes over and pushes and starts basically punching the bear. The bear basically feels the forces of the force. Feels the force of the punches, and it's basically shocked or something like that of how strong this kid is. And by the way, this bear has a quirk. It's a regeneration quirk. Deku sees this and says, alright. And also has a mass quirk. It increases mass. And the bear then uses his mass quirk to basically double his size. And Deku says, alright, this is interesting. And what he does is, let's say he's fighting this bear right now. Fist by fist. Or something like that. Each time he's fighting the bear, each time the bear's increasing his mass. To the point that basically the bear is as big as one of the trees. Deku sees and says, interesting. How about I finish this? He gets up, he basically jumps, and punches the bear right in his face. The bear then gets up again, but this time he basically looks at Deku with respect. And what he does is tries to do one finishing blow before he leaves. He charges the Deku, slashes the Deku, and makes a scar on his It's basically a scar, and it looks like you could say how Bond scar looks like on his neck or something like that. After that, Deku says, "What the?" And from there, the bear was too fast for him to see since. Basically Deku dodged, but the bear was basically, the force was coming from the bear. Swing was too much for him, and he got scratched on his neck, giving them scar as well. Looks like basically the scar looks like how Bond's scar looks like. After that, the bear leaves. Now, Deku says, alright, and basically walks away after bandaging himself up, since he had to learn how to do this himself. So yeah. Now, Deku has a fighting style. It's a wild fighting style, you could say. It's basically a fighting style which involves kicking and punches, but there's like no, you could say, cycle, you could say. Like, there's no pattern or something like that. It's just a wild style with no pattern at all. Now, he goes back home, and yeah, goes and grabs the basically plate out of the fridge, and he goes and eats it in his table, since Almight leaves a plate for him so he can eat some food or something like that when he's like not in the house or something like that. Anyways, we then basically, since Almight still kind of cares about Deku, but really show it. Anyways, so we then basically time skip the next day. He goes to his class as a canon. Like, he goes to usually like 8. He goes to his basic school, and what basically was in school, or picture being like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'd be like in like 5th grade or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, while in school or something like that, he's basically being up by, or let's say this is when lunch happens, something like that. He's being beat up by Bakugo, and that got enough. He goes over, grabs, basically, Bakugo going overboard, as well as his siblings. But his goons are not going overboard. What makes you this? Bakugo is doing explosion more than normal, while Izumi is projecting more than normal, as well as Asha. Yeah, Asha is pushing more, with basically using her fall power of enhancement quirk, while Asha is using her fall power of a telekinesis quirk, basically just making Deku not be able to move, and or just moving things to him so it hurts him. And this happens for like 15 minutes, and his goons are seeing what's happening to Deku, and doesn't want to be part of this anymore. So what they do is basically, they know that Bakugo is getting overboard, tries to talk him out, but Bakugo just screams at him and says, "What should I?" And from there, he's quirkless, something like that. Like, he's quirkless. He's washed for nothing or something like that. And yeah, his goons understand, but this is overkill, and they just leave. Now Bakugo says, alright, well, and basically what happened was, they keep beating Deku up to the point that Deku just had enough of this. He gets up, Izumi tries to use a telekinesis quirk, but before she could, since let's say to throw things, yeah, she uses a telekinesis quirk to throw things at Deku, but before she could, the things could basically, like, let's say there's broken glass, and before the glass could touch him, Deku, what he did was unleashed a strong, you could say, force from his punch that he drew. And this force blew the glass away, and it went to Izumi. Drew her basically, it went to her skin basically. To her arms, skin, like, it went to basically her arms, like, both her arms got glass in it, as well as her legs. Basically every part of her body, but it doesn't touch any important organs or anything like that, just really stuck there. She screams, and basically Gacha gets mad because this tries to attack Deku again, much more harder. But what happened was, Deku dodged her away, grabbed Izumi by the face, and threw her at Bakugo. Bakugo tries to throw an explosion at them, but grabs, after throwing Izumi at Bakugo, grabs both of them by the face and throws them into the nearby wall, knocking both of them out, and grabs Izumi by her face and throws her by the wall, or throwing her into the ground, locking her out. Now, Dan walks over to the goons, and the goons is, wait, we don't want part of this. And they try to basically, try to make Deku not be in love as he did to his, as he did to Bakugo and his basically sibling. And yeah, Deku left him in the warning, and tells him that you better just, tells him that to leave a message for him. That if they try to mess with him again, basically, he'll kill them. and they understand and leave. Now, and before Deku left, let's say Deku just told him that, and if they try to attack him again, both of them, then he'll just kill or just do the same thing as he did to him, and they understand. They're afraid of Deku. Now, if you're confused, what happened was, yeah, Deku at the moment unlocked Kaido's or strength, you could say, or something like that. He's a descendant from Kaido, of course, so he unlocked his family, you could say, strength or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so Deku left, and when he went back home, his Inko yelled at him, beat him up, abused him every day, or more than himself. Alma had to come in, cause Alma forgot. Let's say let's say Alma forgot, went back home to get a suit or something like that. Since he did fight against Orphan, he had to get a suit before he basically fade so that he doesn't go and bends Alma's suit when he basically turns his skin might form or something like that, and sees Deku on the ground, basically on the ground, barely alive. Sees Inko about to go and basically draw a knife at his heart, but stops her, grabs her by the face, and throws her on the ground. She says, "What are you doing this, Alma?" And basically, Alma tells Inko that you're about to kill him. That's why. And just why should you stop me? I was about to kill him because you are our daughters. And Alma, after doing this, and tells Deku, "Did you hurt your siblings?" And Deku says, "Yes. Because they're about to kill me, that's why." And Alma believes Deku, kind of believes. And what he does is grabs the knife from Inko's hands and tells her that if she basically tries to kill Deku again, since Inko tried to kill Deku like 2 times, and this is her third time doing it, and tells her if she does it again, she'll arrest her. She, of course, is not happy about this, but agrees to it. And yeah, basically, next day they go to the principal office, and they find out that, yeah, Izumi beat up Deku. All Might find out that Izumi actually beat up Deku to the point that he was about to die, as well as Bakugo. And leaves, and basically disappointed with the daughters, as well as Inko, for letting this happen. And what it does is makes a decision without Inko's permission, or without Inko's agreement. Basically makes Deku, since he's still a good guy, only. He basically makes Deku buys Deku a apartment. An apartment where he only knows what Deku is. And he basically, since Deku's still a kid, he has a maid or a butler with him, since, yeah, he can't live on his own. Not exactly this. At least Ami thinks that he can't live on his own, so he hires a butler. Yes, he's full of money, since he's a hero, so yeah. Anyways, he hires a butler for Deku, and they move to an apartment. They Deku and the butler. And his butler name was Alfred. And he was like in his 20s or something like that. And Deku goes to his basically apartment, and Deku says, right. And Alfred tells Deku if he wants his bed done and some food, and if he's hungry or something like that. Deku says, you can start packing. Now, Deku has butler until he basically is old enough to basically be on, or has this butler until he's basically old enough to raise himself, or basically take care of himself. Now, basically a week later, Inko suddenly knows that Deku's not around the house, and talks to Armin and says, "What happened to Deku?" Since she calls him Deku, or "What happened to Izuku?" she says, and Armin says, "Well, I moved him away," and she says, "Wait, why did you do that?" "Because trying to stop you from killing him. That's why." And because you abused him, and as well as Izumi and Asha. Now, Chika's mad at All Might. They start arguing, and yeah, All Might, what he does is just hand over Inko and moves away. I mean, like this, he visits the house or apartment sometimes, or yeah, he basically visits the apartment to see his daughters. And what he does is basically moves into a different apartment which doesn't have Inko or something like that. So yeah, since only has enough for Inko abusing his son, even though he's quirkless. So yeah. As far as Inko doesn't know that Almighty was quirkless, so yeah, that happened. Anyway, so we then basically time skip until like 7 or let's say during the years, Deku's starting basically, let's say during the years, Deku's starting to learn his abilities, like how strong he is, how fast he is, and other stuff like that. And let's say basically 2 years later, pretty sure it was like he was 8 or something like that. Let's say it was like 10 right now, or no, let's say it was like 9 years old right now. I forgot his age, but anyways, yeah, I was like 9 years old right now, and yeah, let's say he asked All Might if he can have, basically, he asks his brother if he can buy him some swords, wooden swords, or wooden katanas. His brother's hesitated for us, but Deku willingly, or basically convinces him to buy wooden swords. He buys him 3 and tells him why does he want wooden swords after giving him the swords, and tell him because I want to check something out. He has a, you could say, punching bag, since yeah, there was a credit card that Alfred has that he's able to buy anything he wants, so yeah. From All Might, of course, bank account, so yeah. Now, what happened, yeah. He basically trains he basically trains how to use swords. At first he used 1, and let's say a few months later he uses 2, and a few years later, or basically he's been training his swords. He knows how to use one sword, like in like 5 months, while he knows how to use 2 swords in 1.5 years. So he'll be like 10.5 right now, and let's say 5 months later he learns how to use 3 swords. Yes, he learns how to use the 3 sword style, and but only knows how to use the wooden 3 sword styles. At least how to use the wood size, or at least how to use wood at least swords. So he starts using the real swords or something like that, and he trains himself how to use different, like he makes himself martial arts or different type of fighting style, you could say, and he calls it basically the Wrath style. It's basically a style which it's a style of momentum as well as strength, as a mix between the force of a punch and a kick, and the strength or the momentum of the kick and the punch. It focuses on more of the punch, or it focuses more on basically the attack and how much force and momentum is in the punch. Now, let's say when like Deku's like 12, and Deku looks like a 14-year-old right now. He looks like a 14-year-old right now, and let's say he dyed his hair to be black, just because, anyways, and his hair basically his hair grew to basically. His hair looks like this, but a little bit more like zeros or something like that. So yeah. Anyways, and let's say he doesn't have horns, not exactly. Yeah. Let's say he's going to unlock the Devil Fruit ability of Kaido's, but not yet exactly. anyways, yeah, and let's say Deku, annoying to him, he has tiny horns. Like, his horns are not built. See, since he has long hair, like, his hair is like a bunch, like, yeah, his hair covers his horns basically. He knows his horns, so it's, alright. And basically, let's say one day when he's like 12 years old right now, he goes to the museum with his classmates, and basically they go around and see artifacts they found a thousand years ago, or barely found, or something like that, and was about to be like 1,000 or like 5,000 years ago, or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so while they were looking around, they see you could say giant maze. And I think it says, alright. Walks to it, and the guy says, Deku, that it basically they had an offer, like, whoever can lift this thing, shows that basically they have the strength to lift this massive, you could say, maze, or whatever this thing is. Pretty sure it was wasn't it trying to remember what it was. It was Kaido's weapon, basically. It was a club, probably. Yeah. I think it was a club. I don't know. And, of course, everyone tries in the class. They barely lift basically, they barely lift an inch out of it. Noita. Anyways, they barely lift an inch. I'll be back. Good. Noita. Anyways, back. Anyways, yeah. This could be with Deku. Anyways, yeah. Let's say, with Deku is about to lift Kaido's weapon, which I don't know what it is, just pictures a club. I don't know. Anyways, when he was about to lift his weapon, something happened. Like, a villain attack happened. Like, let's say this villain has a giant quirk, something like that. He's basically transformed into a giant and destroying the museum. And while he's destroying the museum, he sees Deku in a giant weapon and says, oh, nice. And basically tries to grab the weapon. But Deku sees this and has this feeling inside of him that this is his, and he grabs it, lifts it. Everyone's shocked about see what he did, since they see Deku living this giant weapon. He then jumps with it and hits the basically villain right on his head, which sends the villain flying to the ground. Like, it sends the villain flying into a nearby building, multiple buildings, of course, to the point that it stops, and the thing disappeared, and it transformed into a tattoo. You could say, like, the thing disappeared, and it basically Deku, unknown to him, the artifact went and basically didn't shrink, but turned into, you could say, tattoo, or a tattoo that basically stored it. Deku then fell down, because he uses full might. He uses full strength to lift this thing up, since, yeah, he's still a kid. And he passes out, since he uses so much strength. Like, he used all the strength he had, and he passed out because of his stress of the body of lifting the giant weapon. I know Kaido, like, pretty tall, and yeah, he's like pretty tall, and the weapon that could just lift it took all his strength to lift. So yeah, now everyone was shocked to see this. And when Deku woke up, he woke up in the hospital, or Chao, Rosé. anyways, yeah, I took the fall. Next day, strike fear to see carry the kaidos up and down. Oh, you know. So yeah, and yeah, he woke up in the hospital, basically being passed out because of the strike in the body. And I'm just happy to see him alive, still woke, still basically fully healed, and so yeah. This was gonna end up, so yeah, I'd move to a different place, so yeah. I hope you like it. And yeah, I mean, upload like a week, like one video per week. I don't know. I'm not busy, so yeah. Yeah. See ya.